Hey guys, it's Mr. R here, and today we're going to be doing the working light bulb circuit. Now, since we're dealing with electricity in this, there's a lot of safety things you need to remember. First thing is, a lot of these steps will require adult supervision and for an adult to actually do them, so please listen when I say that. The next thing is, we're going to be using a battery to power this light bulb, and one important thing about circuits is that if you cross these wires, or you perhaps create what is called a short circuit, I'll put the description here, it causes a malfunction in the circuit which can actually burn the wires or hurt the battery, and it can melt it. So that's important to pay attention to. Now, I'll be saying a lot of complicated, maybe you don't understand words about electricity here, but I'll put all of that description up above so you guys can follow along easily. So after we've secured our battery here like this, next thing we're going to do is make a switch. So we're going to grab one of these, which is made of metal, so it'll be good for a switch. And we're going to actually put a paper clip around it. And that will be almost like the clicking part for our switch. And we'll be able to connect the circuit and disconnect the circuit. So now that we have our paper clip and our push pin, I'm going to call it, we're going to put it in the cardboard sheet. So we're going to do this, like so. So we have this part attached to there. And we're going to actually puncture the cardboard up here. See how the battery is located down here? So the circuit's going to run up here, and our switch is going to be right around here somewhere. A little bit closer to this side than from the middle. So I'm just going to puncture it. And if you have a hard time doing this, you might want to use a pen or something just to put it through. There we go. So I got mine done here. So you see? And you turn it over because notice how it's sticking out? We don't want that. So we're going to actually fold these little prongs out like that. So now we've created our switch. And to make it the clicky switch that we usually see on walls, what we're going to do is just push this bottom part down like this so we can make it stand up like this. Now we have our switch. We can just click it like that. And we're going to see later what it does. Now the first thing we're going to do is we're going to actually secure our battery, which is our power source for this circuit, onto the board. I already have a piece of tape here, but you can just either loop it around like that, or you can double it up like I did and just stick it on. Basically, you have to make sure the battery stays on. So as you can see, it's pretty secure there. Now it's finally time to add our light bulb here. So I've already screwed the light bulbs into the sockets because it's dangerous if you mess this up. So this one's a little loose, see? But I'll already have fixed this. So from here what we're going to do, this is very important, so we have to pay attention here. The red wire is positive, and it goes to the positive side of the battery. It should be a plus sign here. As you can see right there, it's a plus sign. And the top of the battery looks like this, and that's what the positive side is. So we're going to connect this to the positive side like this. Just touch it to the top, like this. I'm going to touch it like that, and we're going to put a piece of tape there, just to make sure it stays there. There, we have our light bulb wire for the positive side connected to the positive. So from here we're going to just move our light bulb. This wire is bendable, so you can just bend it a little bit, just so you have your light bulb near the top like that. So guys, I noticed something here is that this is not going to be very easy to run wires across, and we always want to have a clean workplace here to make sure there's no accidents that happen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this off and just flip it around like that. So the battery we have, we have the plus side, which you can see here, the sign is there. The plus side is at the bottom now. Now all you're going to do is just take this and loop it down here instead, and make sure that you have, like we saw before, you have the wire touching the top of the battery. There we go, we have that secured. Now the green wire we just have to have resting up here. and we're ready for the next step. So if you see here, this green wire was actually a little bit long. So all I had to do is just compress it and loop it like this, just so we have enough room on the board to do the rest of it. So after you've looped it around like this, the important part now is to take this exposed metal wire piece and we're going to wrap it around this button part. It's okay if it touches the paper clip, but we want to mostly have it around the button part. And if you have trouble, you can just pull the button up a little bit so it comes up a little, and then you can just wrap it around like this. And make sure you get the entire thing around there, or at least most of it, so we have a nice clean workspace here. Now we're ready to complete the circuit. So now what we did with this wire, we're going to do with this new wire. Now it looks different than the other one, but that's okay. I've twisted it around so it'll be nice and clean like this one will be. So all we need to do with this is touch it to this side like we did with that side. And we're just going to apply a little piece of tape just to make sure it stays. There we go. And make sure it stays on that side secure. And we have that. Now from here, to complete the circuit, we've got to take this, and notice how it's a little long again. I'll cut it smaller so you guys can have it easier, but for me I'm just going to do what I did with this green wire and just loop it around like this. It extends a little bit farther than the actual board, but that's fine. If I lift this board up, it won't go anywhere. So after we've had that, we actually need one more piece of tape to secure it to the platform. So as you can see, when I touch the switch, we now have our circuit. And you can just play around with it a little, see what makes it light up better, what doesn't. And after you figure that out, see, there's a loose connection here. So it takes a little playing around because working with electricity is tough. You got to figure out what's going wrong and what isn't. So if something is still wrong here, some easy changes you can make is this wire that's wrapped around here. Instead of doing that, you can just wrap that wire to the actual paper clip that you have, just like that, like I'm doing here. I'll show you in a minute. So I've actually touched the wire to the paper clip, and after you've done that, you can just maybe wrap it around that button also. So like that. You can see it's touching both now. So that might be one reason why it lights up, or why it doesn't light up. But if you're having major problems, see, when I replaced that, it did something. So if you're having major problems, one last thing is you can make a less fancy switch just by eliminating this whole portion. And you can just go directly here. So one thing I did is I noticed that if you have problems with the light and it's still not turning on, you can make the switch even simpler actually. So if you just move the piece of tape closer here, let's say, we'll put it here, and if we do our switch like this, we bend this part out like that, then we can actually have an even simpler circuit. So you see, you have to make sure that this portion touches the actual battery. So I'll bend it out a little more and push this down a little. And there, see? We got our switch there. And turn it around again. See, there's a bunch of different ways you can play with this. And you can do anything you want just to make sure, you're not causing any shorts in the circuit. So that's a problem. So you see, I wrapped that around again. And here we go. Ready? Let's test our switch. 3, 2. There we go. You can see our battery was out of place, but you can see our switch works. And that's the simple switch, because one important thing is that as many parts as you add, the more places you have for some malfunction or trouble to occur. So you always want to make sure that you have everything securely fastened, and with the help of an adult, you can make your own circuit. Now make sure to return these parts, because unfortunately this is very dangerous to take home, because if you accidentally cross these wires, like this one touches this, you can create a short, and then that's all sorts of problems. Just for safety measures, please do this with an adult, and please don't take this anywhere. And there we go, we have our working light circuit. Bye guys.